Welcome back, you guys. I know it's been a while since I posted on my channel with me actually in a video, but I've been working on this big project for my channel about mental awareness and health, because it is a very serious matter and it's not talked about as much as it should be, and not into enough depth. So this video is gonna be people sharing their stories and their outlook on mental health and bullying. Yes, bullying usually dwindles as you progress towards high school and so on, but it does not stop. Even afterwards, after any schooling, it doesn't necessarily stop, and it needs to. Mental health is not an excuse, and is not something to be taken lightly. It is a serious concern and matter that needs to be addressed more. It can affect so much more than you may ever realize. Mental health can affect your work life, your home life, your life overall. Not to mention, it emotionally affects you, obviously mentally affects you, and it can even potentially physically affect you, your body as a being. So this video will inform you and give you people's stories on how they have to deal with it or have dealt with it. And I hope you can learn something from this. Let's get started.
Hello, this video is actually going to one of the few guys I actually started talking to. His name is GothBishop. I'm really happy I started talking to this dude because he's pretty cool. But he asked me if I would make a story time about bullying, if I've been bullied, you know. And I will tell you that I have been bullied. I've been suicidal and depressed. This is not a fun video to make because I'm reopening a wound that I wish I, wish it never happened. I wish it didn't happen to other people either. You know, trust me, I've been bullied. I know what it's like. I've been firsthand at bullying, and here's the story behind that. I was in 7th grade. My grandfather, well, great-grandfather, to be more correct, passed away when I was in the 6th grade, and I was going to school with my cousin at the time. I'll call him H. You know, he was, he was very, very, very upset with what happened with his, because I was his grandpa, and I mean, I was upset too, because I loved him, more than, anything, and my great-grandpa always loved me. That was, it hurt. It hurt to lose him, but, we can't change the, future. We can't change the destiny. We just gotta live our lives the best that we can. Well, what had happened was, after he died, something happened with H. He just wasn't the same. He didn't act the same. He was just angrier now. Like, he didn't want nothing to do with anybody. He was just angry. And I was like, I understood that, because if I lost somebody close to me, I have lost someone close to me, and that's another story time for later. But, yeah, anyways, But yeah, I would be angry too if, you know, I lost someone that close. But what had happened is the next school semester, he didn't like me. He didn't like me after that. He would make fun of me constantly. I'm of Indian descent. I have Choctaw blood running through my veins. And he would say, "Oh, look, here comes the gay Indian. Oh, look, here comes the gay Indian. Oh, yeah." But then it started to get worse. I went as if y'all remember fucking Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. I went as him for my 7th grade year because I was a big fan of The Walking Dead, and I always loved the people. You know, I always loved The Walking Dead. I don't love it much now, but back then I was a very big nerd, and I love that type of shit. So I was sitting there. I was, I thought, yeah, I'll fucking be Rick Grimes from fuck, sorry. I thought, yeah, I'll be Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. I just fueled it more. He used to after that, he'd be like, "Oh, look, it's the gay cowboy. Oh, look at him. He's going to ride ass so he's going to wear assless chaps. Oh, look at him." And I didn't tell nobody about that. I just gave it to myself. It hurt. It didn't make me want to drop out of school. It didn't make me want to do none of that. I was just sick and tired of fucking hearing it. So eventually, I was standing, and he walked up behind me and said, "Oh, look, it's the gay Indian. What's he gonna do? Go eat some guts?" I said, "You know what? If your grandfather could hear what you're saying to me right now, he would be very, very, very disappointed in you." He went, "Oh, really? Because you know what? My grandfather never loved you. He never fucking loved you." And I looked at him dead in his eyes and I said, "No, you know what? I think he had more respect for me than he'll ever have for your ass." And I just walked away.
And I figured I would help out with this video because it's trying to spread awareness for mental health and all that. And I thought I'd share just a little bit of my story. In 2015, when I was almost 14, I went to SBHS, which is Streamwood Behavioral Healthcare System up in Chicago, which is like a mental facility. And there I got diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. I'd known I'd had these for a long time, and my parents did too. And I just started kind of going downhill once I started middle school and everything. Bullying got worse from 5th all the way up until I graduated. I'd been bullied. So it's a hard struggle, but I slowly learned to cope with it, and I've been on different medications that helped me for a little bit, and then they stop helping, and they make everything feel worse than I already feel, and it just makes my mentality or whatever, I'd say, worse, and makes me in a worse off mood. I don't know if that makes sense, worse. But this is something that doesn't get talked about very often. Mental health needs to be talked about more because nobody really understands it. I think if people would listen to everybody that is struggling and fighting with mental illnesses every day, I feel like if they would listen more and pay attention more, they would understand it a lot more, and they'd understand what we're all going through a lot more. I actually gave a speech in school about it, and nobody really understood it, how untalked about it is. And actually a couple people in the class started crying whenever I told them my story. About going to SBHS. Before then, I had thoughts of killing myself and everything like that. I got the help that I needed, and since then I've had good and bad days. Been on 3 different types of medication since then, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but there's a little bit of my story, I guess, but just talk more. Don't bottle everything up inside, and it'll make everything better, hopefully. Bye, guys.
Hi, my name is Brin. I'm 20 years old, and I am here to discuss mental health and give some of my insight and my personal experiences on what that has been like living with for years now. So, I've been bullied pretty much my whole life. I was never popular, I never fit in, I was the weird kid. Any insult you can think of, I was called it. Ugly, fat. I got called Shrek Girl once. I've been called Pizza Face. I was too fat. I was too skinny. I had ugly clothes. I had ugly shoes. Just anything that you can think of, I was insulted with it. And you know, as a kid, growing up and going through school and trying to understand why people are so mean and so not understanding that you don't have control over how you look or the things that you wear or just the way that you grow up, because that's just how you grow up. So they're hurtful. They don't get it. They think it's funny, they make jokes, they crack jokes, and then it just leaves you feeling so empty and so sad. And over the years, that really started to make my mental health deteriorate so quickly. By the time I was in junior year of high school, I had dropped out. I dropped out my sophomore year, and then I dropped out again my junior year because I just I couldn't get out of bed. I was so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed. And I was so full of anxiety that I couldn't handle it. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I just cried. I cried for so many days. And there was a month straight where I couldn't sleep because my anxiety would keep me awake. But that's not the point. Mental health has this huge stigma behind it that if you show emotion, you're weak, or that you're not good enough, which isn't true at all. It's not true at all. Showing emotion is how you heal. It's how you release all the bad so you can bring the good back in. And I wish more people would understand that. I wish men especially, and that's not me trying to call men out. I love men, I think they're great. But there's such a big stigma around men showing emotions. It's not a bad thing. Men can cry. Men can have feelings. Men can be feminine. It's not a bad thing. But, you know, the stigmas and people just assuming that they're gay for showing emotion, it blows my mind. People have feelings. You have to release those feelings. You have to conquer those feelings in order to move forward and better yourself as a person. That's how we as humans grow. That's how we learn. It's how we function. And it's so incredibly hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. I am 20 years old. I've been living with this probably since I was 7, but I didn't know at 7 years old it would get to these levels. My mental health has gotten to a point that I did try to commit suicide. But thank God I did not go through with it. Thank God my mom was there with me. I don't believe in God, but thank God that somebody was keeping an eye on me that day, that they knew that wasn't the end for me. Because I can't even imagine the pain that would have brought so many other people. Something just like getting out of bed for even 5 seconds, or even just brushing your teeth, that's an accomplishment. Getting out of bed's an accomplishment. Even washing your hair, that's an accomplishment for people who deal with mental illness, because it's so incredibly hard. I have self-harm scars. I do and I don't regret having them, because they are reminders of how far I've come, and they show me that I will never ever get to that low point again in my life. But at the time, it felt like all I could control. That was what felt real to me. It's what kept me feeling not numb from the world. But please, please don't hurt yourself. Please don't do it. Please don't. I promise you that is not the answer. It doesn't help, really. It really doesn't. But if you have, I'm so sorry. Just know that you're beautiful, you're loved, you're so wanted. And your scars and your mental illness do not define you as a person. They're just part of who you are. And it's part of what makes you you. And you're still fucking beautiful. And you can fucking do this. You can fucking get through this. Seth, I'm sorry for the F-bombs, but mental illness does not weigh you down. And I wish people would stop seeing it that way. I wish people wouldn't think that people with mental illness are lazy or slobs or gross, because they're not. They're so not. They're some of the fucking kindest people you could ever meet and ever know. It gets better. It gets so much better. And the more you grow and the wiser you... There are foundations and organizations that you can donate to. Even if you have suspicion of friends or family or just any loved one or anybody in general that might have mental illness or might be suffering, please check on them. Please ask them. Please tell them and let them know that you are there for them and that they have a safe haven or a safe place to speak without judgment. It's crucial, and it's so rewarding to know that somebody cares about you, and it's very beneficial to know that there's a safe place for somebody to go if they need someone. But anyways, mental illness, it doesn't stop you forever. It doesn't. And I know that you're all strong enough to get through this. And whoever is struggling, please know I love you. You are so loved. You're so beautiful. Life is shit. It really is, but it gets better. It has its moments. You just have to find those little rewarding things and hold on to those. Thank you. Stay beautiful. Have a good day. You deserve to have a good day.
Alright, and for the last story to be told, me. Now, in school, I really haven't went through much bullying. Except I was made fun of for being very skinny when I was, because I was extremely picky. So I was super skinny and very weak and scrawny. Then after 8th grade, I started gaining more and more and more weight. And then I started developing stretch marks. And I got made fun of for being chubby, for having stretch marks, because apparently they make me uglier. Then when I started showing my gothic style into my appearance, people just became naturally scared of me without even knowing me or what the gothic lifestyle really is. It's not what the media tells you. We don't worship Satan. We don't do all kinds of dark, crazy things. That is just a stereotype. Don't judge someone because of that, of what you hear from the media. But back to the subject. People get agitated and negative comments about my hair being too long or in my face, having all these tattoos showing, all these piercings. Like, why would I do that to my body? Well, there's the key words. My body. It's my body, not yours. And yes, actions speak louder than words, but words can hurt a lot too. Also, my hair's gonna do whatever it wants, but anyways, yes, I paint my nails. Yes, I wear eyeliner. Yes, sometimes I will wear black lipstick. Because I love wearing makeup. I love wearing black makeup. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel more attractive. But just because I'm a guy does not mean I can't wear that, or it makes me any less of a man. I don't have toxic masculinity. I'm not afraid to show love towards women and men of any sort, no matter what my sexual orientation is. Because it doesn't make you any less of a person than you are already. If you can hear dogs in the background, that's the neighbor dogs and my dogs barking. Anyways, and whenever someone thinks I'm really sad, at school usually, whenever other guys would see me being very sad and looks like I'm about to cry, they'd point it out, and you can tell in the tone of the voice they're about to make fun, because I'm a guy and apparently crying shows weakness, especially in men. It doesn't. It really does not. It shows you have emotion and that you feel emotion. Just because you're a man or a woman doesn't mean you can't do things that the other gender is stereotypically the one to do it. Like, girls can be into monster trucks or racing and all that, skateboarding, and guys can be into like makeup, cosmetology, doing hair and all that. Doesn't make them any less of the person they are. Not less feminine, not less masculine, or more so the other. Then back, I'm sorry for getting off track again a bit. My heart's actually racing as I'm saying all this. I don't always say this, but I'm quite oftenly cyberbullied. Bullied online. Mostly for the fact that I'm gay. That's the number one thing I'm bullied for online, is because I'm gay. I'm still bullied for them thinking I'm ugly because of being overweight, stretch marks, and the stuff I wear on my face, like makeup and these piercings. But it's mainly the fact that I'm gay. It's gotten to the point where I'm afraid to live stream on any app or platform because of the last time I did, well, a few times ago, and what someone said. I just invited it up to my stream because I wanted to make new friends. I wanted to engage with my audience. Well, that person was not someone that should have been in my audience. They flat out looked at me, like into the camera, looking at me, and said, "All gays should be stoned to death like you." And then he exited off the stream. And then everything came flooding to me, and I had to end my stream right then and there. And it was on the app YouNow. I have not streamed on that app since, and I've only been on it like maybe 5 times since then, and that was a couple months ago. And yes, it's easier said than done to say, just let it roll off your back, they're just trolls, don't give them what they want, which is to get to you. But sometimes it's hard not to let it get to you. It really is. Especially when you constantly hear things like that. It's gonna hit you eventually. And not everyone is built the same. We can't all just let it roll off our backs, or just let it be. Sometimes it just sticks with you. I'm often told that I'm mentally stupid and sick because I'm gay. I shouldn't be here because I am. I should be killed or electrocuted. And that I'm also afraid to show much emotion in public, because I've gotten the mindset that people will think I'm weak if they see signs that I'm about to cry or something. Sorry, my camera died. So where was I? Oh yeah. I'm afraid to show my sadness most of the time in public, like at work when it hits me, my depression, because I don't want to become a burden to others by them thinking they should worry about me, or being concerned, or thinking that I'm weak because I have the strong urge to cry because I'm being hit so hard by a wave of depression. So I fight it out until I come home and lock myself in my room. Now I have SAD, which is social anxiety disorder, where I'm very anxious and worried to go out in public on my own and not with a friend or someone. I get worked up easily. I'm afraid to be in front of people. Like, I get terribly anxious, and whenever I have to juggle so many things at once without help, I start panicking and losing my sense. I have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which is an anxiety. Mine isn't necessarily with organizing, if you could see my room. It's mostly with grammar and spelling. Like, I have the strong urge to correct people on the spelling and grammar, and it's really hard to help it because, like, it drives me nuts when it's not correct. I even correct myself all the time. I hope you can see me, but I have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which isn't just being hyper, like many people think. Yes, that's like the core part of it, but it's harder to focus, to stay focused, to stay calm and collected, because you're always hyper or energetic, It's hard to sleep with it. Sometimes it's hard to control your actions at given times, because you act before you think a lot when you have ADHD. And have major clinical depression since my sophomore year of high school, which was about 5 years ago. I ended up getting meds for my depression because I cut myself on my arms, knew I wasn't going to be able to hide it for long from my mom or dad. So I showed her after school, because that's the only time I've actually ever worn a long sleeve to school in forever. I didn't cut it on my arms again. And then at one point, I was taken to the hospital because I had severe suicidal thoughts, and I had it planned out. I wanted to strongly overdose myself. I told the licensed, whatever you call them, that I would be safe enough to return home, and that I'm not going to do anything to myself, so I wouldn't get admitted to a ward. And I mostly said that because I realized if I do get admitted, I can't see my friends and family whenever I want. It'd be nothing but scheduled times, and that would actually make me worse off, even though it's supposed to help people. It'd make me worse off because I can't make it without my friends and family. And here comes the biggest part. What no one really knows except for certain very close friends. I didn't stop cutting after that. I just cut where no one would be able to see it. And I did it for years. On my thighs. I've cut so much to the point where it looks like I would have a permanent rash on my thighs because all the scars are running together. A lot of them have faded away, but a lot still remain. My thighs are like naturally red now because of how many times I've cut them throughout the years. It hasn't even been a full year since I've last cut, but I haven't done it anywhere near recently because it wasn't getting me anywhere. Because it doesn't get you anywhere. I've been to therapy and I stopped going. When I say I'm not mentally prepared or ready for something, I truly mean it. Recently I've been battling it more so than usual. Sorry, I'm trying to calm down. No one but a few of my closest friends knew that I cut my thighs. That I did cut my thighs. Not a single family member knew. Because I was afraid to tell them. Because I didn't want them to hurt. I didn't want them to worry and cry over me. And I didn't want to get admitted. So my heart's really going. So what I'm saying here is we all have struggles, some worse than others, but that doesn't mean your pain doesn't matter. Everyone's pain matters, no matter who they are or what they've done. Your pain matters. don't let it go completely unnoticed or untreated. There's so many people with anxiety and or depression and any mental illness go without treatment. And anxiety is extremely treatable, but such a large percentage of people go untreated. And to be honest, if I never told someone about my depression and I didn't get antidepressants and therapy to help, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Because sometimes the smallest things can make the biggest impact, especially when it comes to mental health. And mental illnesses differ among person to person, because not everyone's brain thinks the same way. So I hope that this would teach you to not try to fight it alone. Yes, you may win, but you may also lose. It's always easier to make it through when you have someone else helping. Please do me a favor and try your best to take care of yourself. This is the only body you'll get. This is the only life you'll have. Don't let something just swallow you up and tear it away from you. You won't have another chance. Take action as soon as you can. I promise it will get better. I often think it won't, but when I'm always around my coworkers and my friends and the family that love me for who I am and support me, I'm still making it through. So, with all that said, I hope you guys have a good day or night, the rest of your life, and take care of yourselves. We love you all. And until next time, this has been GothBishop, and I am out.